am recording from here, so I've got an audio track which is picking these up.
Cool.
And all the cameras get picked up, so I use that for syncing. So hopefully that's the bit that always gets people. What's going on now? So yes. Anyway, I've got to remember how to do this.
You've got to be able to do it with someone watching you as well now.
That's even
You're
worse.
feeling self-conscious.
Am I feeling self-conscious?
Should you be?
Should I be? You realise this part is being recorded,
That's
and it
fine.
will be going in the live stream.
The edit at the end.
The edit live stream podcast. Anyway, hello everyone. It's Wayne here from I Make Sex Toys, and we're in the E-Stim studio, and I have a guest today. For change, I've actually managed to cajole someone to come in and talk to me, so I'm not in here on my own. And I have here Sean from Leather Delights. Sean, would you like to introduce yourself?
I think you've just done it for me. So, my name's Sean from Leather Delights. I've kind of been making bondage gear for 13 years now, and the business has been going since 2002.
That's not too bad. 13 years and doing bondage gear, and he's just about managed to untie himself. But we first met Sean. In fact, we first met Sean's dad at an event called BBB, which is the Birmingham Bazaar, which, if any of you are not in the UK, BBB is an event held in a city called Birmingham in the middle of the UK, and it's quite well known in the UK. It's a fetish fair, which is why it's called Birmingham Bazaar, because it's in the UK. And Sean's dad, Andy, was known as the Kinky Cobbler, because guess what? He was a cobbler and he did kinky stuff. And that's how we first met. And do you want to carry on with the story?
So Dad started the business back in 2002 at the BBB, is where he first traded. In fact, this month, October, don't know when it's going out, but October is our birthday month. And then sadly he passed away 2011, at which point me and my mum carried on the business with the help of my nan. So since then it's been a real family business.
It's gone from strength to
It's
strength.
just gone from there. Happy accident really for me.
So how many BBBs have you missed?
So as a business in total we've missed 2, and one of them was
Two in
22 years, yeah.
2 in 22 years.
Yeah, we've done a lot. I think we counted about 250, 260 in total we've done as a business.
And you do other events as well, don't you?
Yep. So we do the LAM, which is London Alternative Market. That's held obviously in London each month. So we've done all but 2 of them as well, and they've been going since 2004. So yeah, we've done 200 odd of those. It's got to be 250 events myself since I started helping in 2007, just by carrying boxes upstairs for Dad, and then doing everything really since 2011.
Doing everything.
Yeah.
So why do you do the events? I mean, what do you find about events is the key for you as a business?
So for us, the key is being able to talk to people face to face. BDSM is very tactile. People want to pick up and feel items before they purchase them. So it gives people the opportunity to pick up our paddles, see all the different textures we've got. So there's more than just leather. We've got some rubbers, we've got some furs. And then with collars, example, you can try them on, see what size you want. So they're all made to measure. Likewise with cuffs. We also do some made to measure harnesses. So it's just an opportunity to get people to come, try stuff on, and get a feel for what you're buying rather than just buying blindly off the internet and hoping it fits.
You still have a web presence, don't you? So you can still buy through the web.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can buy off our website as well, and everything comes with a lifetime guarantee. So, like yourselves.
Lifetime guarantee.
Yeah, I wonder where that idea came from. But yeah, so if you ever break anything you buy from us, we'll repair or replace it, depending on obviously what needs to be done. But we are probably going to ask you how you broke it, partly because we want to know. It normally leads to some kind of interesting story of people doing something you had no idea they were going to do.
Do we like stories? So come on, give me an interesting story.
An interesting story.
Edited to protect the innocent, of course.
Crikey.
I wasn't expecting
No,
this
I wasn't.
one.
Trying to think what's safe for YouTube.
Forget the safe for YouTube.
So it was probably one of the guys that purchased a chest harness off us. He just kept breaking it, and we just couldn't figure out why, and we found out he was trying to do some self-suspension off a rope frame. It's never a good idea, in my opinion. Essentially what happened was the D-ring kept pulling off the front, and that essentially led to us changing the design. So the design put the D-ring behind the leather rather than just kind of clipped on the front. So that means that now if you're going to do the same kind of task, instead of pulling off and the rivets pop in, you've got to rip through the leather, which is...
So you can use it for suspension.
Yeah, I mean, I'd advise not to. They're not necessarily designed for suspension.
Yep. So you do harnesses,
Yep.
You do paddles, you do collars. What else do you do?
Probably in the majority, but we also do some floggers. We've got nipple clamps. We do a few belts.
That means spikes. Don't like spikes.
Yeah, lots of spikes. Obviously leads to go with the collars. We've got some cock cages and blindfolds. Yeah,
So the list is actually quite extensive.
Pretty much anything you'd associate with bondage and leather is something we'll make. And like I said, we make it to size as well.
So is it just leather you work in, or do you work in other materials?
So primarily leather. Obviously, the kinky cobbler probably gives away our background is in the shoe repair industry. So a lot of the rubbers we've sourced from there. Quite impactful without intending.
I think he means they hurt.
Yeah, they hurt like hell. And obviously, all the rubbers have got different textures on them, which gives a completely different sensation based on the texture. And then we often pair them with like a rabbit fur on the reverse. So you'll get a paddle that's nice and stingy on one side, and then nice and soft and sensual on the other. So essentially you're getting 2 for 1 in a single paddle.
You mentioned fur.
Yes.
Now, fur, for a lot of people, is quite controversial.
Yes.
Because they don't like the fact that we're using animal skins. I mean, I think leather's probably quite controversial, but from a fur perspective, what's your thoughts about using fur?
We put a lot of kind of working behind the scenes to work out where our materials are coming from. So we speak to a lot of suppliers to check their sources. All of our leather and fur comes as a byproduct of the meat industry, so we don't buy anything that is killed for the purpose of selling the fur. Look at like mink coats or something like that. It's something we would stay well away from. So the rabbit fur comes as a byproduct of the meat industry. We do it in nice different colours as well, which,
I don't know to say this, but I haven't seen a pink rabbit before.
Yeah, well, they don't last very long, you see. So
you see the pink rabbit running across.
Yeah, but obviously people like the colours, so we offer a wide range of colours as well. Rabbit fur is probably the most controversial because people have it as pets.
Don't worry, no bunnies were hurt. We were eating them instead.
Yeah, so I totally understand that, and each to their own, really. Likewise with leather, it all comes as a byproduct of the meat industry, and it's all sourced from UK suppliers, and we can kind of trace back to where it came from.
Are you considering sort of going into the markets of things like vegan leather and leather substitutes? Because we know there are people out there who have issues with leather.
Yes. So we've looked and we keep looking. There's a few out there. We've tried cork leather recently, actually. Wasn't a massive fan of it. It didn't, I don't know, it just didn't quite feel right. Didn't feel like it was going to last up to any kind of punishment. So we kind of scrapped that off pretty quickly. We've tried a few over the years and just never found anything we've liked yet. Doesn't mean we won't in the future, but for now we're pretty much sticking to leather.
It's something that, I mean, the whole concept of recycling and ethical sourcing, I mean, we've had issues with recycling. I mean, we've gone from using plastic tubing which was virgin, for want of a better word, to recycled and recyclable tubing for our electrode cases. But even that was quite difficult to find something that actually was consistent all the time, didn't smell like strange bin liners, because a lot of recycled plastic smells like bin liners, and actually lasted a reasonable amount of time, because we don't want our tubing to degrade because it's used to protect our electrodes, but equally we want it to be environmentally friendly, so we can chuck it into the recycling and it will be recycled. And of course we use large quantities of aluminium, which is a very recyclable material, even more so than Coke cans. I mean, solid aluminium like these, our recyclers are sitting there going, please send us the offcuts, we'll recycle these and we'll give you money for them, which is really quite nice. What do you see as your future in terms of things that are changing? I mean, we're seeing the markets have changed. I mean, we no longer do the markets. We started off doing the markets. We did BBB, we did LAM, LFF, etc. And we just got to the stage where we were so busy doing normal orders, normal production, that we couldn't do the markets because it took up a Sunday. And that was before things like social media came along. So do you see any major changes coming up in terms of how you operate at the moment?
So, yes and no. I think increasing our online presence is key for us. That's definitely an area we can expand. There's, as you say, there's markets each month around the UK, so you've got BBB and LAM, but there's also plenty of us now popping up around the country. But that is kind of becoming a little bit congested, where there's almost too many events to sustain people, and we're kind of spreading what is, I won't say a small community, but a smallish community. We're kind of spreading that a bit too thinly around the country, perhaps.
I think also we found, because we did a few markets dotted around. We did Bristol, we did a market which actually is the infamous market for us, because it's the only market we ever did at the time where we didn't sell anything at all, because there were 6 people turned up.
I remember we did an event in Cardiff and we sold one item all day, and there was probably only a dozen people there.
This particular event, I'm not going to name it was a coastal town in Kent. I'm not going to say exactly which one. Basically, for quite a few years, this was the only event we'd never sold anything at, and literally 6 people turned up. It was the organizer and his friends, and it was like, okay, fine, that's the luck of the draw. That's what happens when you run in a business. And then, actually, it was at a BBB. A couple came up to us and said, we saw you at this event and we've come to buy a box. And it was like, yes! Oh, no, that means we no longer have an event which we haven't sold anything, because technically they saw us at the event and now they're coming to buy it from us now. And it was like, well, at least we've never done an event where we haven't sold anything at all. But I mean, we did a few events dotted around. We did Brighton Pride, Cardiff Pride. We experimented, and we love doing events because you get to talk to people. The problem is, a lot of the time, is the logistics. We're based in Watford. You're based in the middle, Tamworth, the middle bit.
The middle bit.
And yeah, sometimes the 4 or 5 hour drive to get to somewhere, and then you've got to unload, set up for the event, do the event, and do the whole thing back. It's just like
so. Yeah, I mean, London for us, we get up about 6 o'clock in the morning to get there for about 8, half 8. Doors open at 12. Event closes about 6, and then by the time we've gone home, it's 11, 12 o'clock at night.
And your stand isn't quite. I mean, hopefully, have you got some pictures of your stand?
Yes,
good.
Yep.
I shall put some pictures of the stand in the podcast. And if this is the audio podcast, then you need to go and look at the video version to see the pictures. But we'll try and put some pictures of your stand. But your stand isn't quite compact. It's a proper stand with lots of things on. And it probably takes a few hours to put together.
It does. So between me and my mum, it takes us anywhere between 2 and 3 hours to set up. Depends on how many sets of stairs we've got to go up.
Note for the event organisers: could we possibly have lifts that work and not a lot of stairs and things? Next time you build a venue, no stairs. Be brilliant. We'd all love that.
Vauxhall Vivaro is a van, and we fill that with stock. So that
Stuffing
might give you a good idea. It's a bit more organised than just stuffing it in. We've got plenty of boxes. Yeah, so it's not a small set.
I can remember our times of doing events, and it was. I don't think we ever got to a van level. We had a big car.
Yeah.
Doing events was quite a squeeze sometimes to get things in, and then you'd forget the trolley, and people would be like, "Have you got a trolley?" It's like, "Oh, damn, I forgot the trolley. Who's brought the trolley?" But yeah, we enjoyed doing the events. It just got to the stage where we couldn't logistically do them. What's your favourite event?
Oh,
I'm gonna.
You can't make me pick on and have it on record, can you? So
officially, he should say, "I like all the events."
Yes, I was coming up with a politician's answer. So I think each event we do is unique. BBB has been around for 20 odd years. I think it started.
BBB has been around before us.
Yeah, so BBB's got a nice venue, Nightingale's in the centre of Birmingham. It's spread over 3 floors. It's quite well established now. You've got quite a good local scene that attend on a regular basis. So that's quite nice. It's nice and open, and very welcoming. The scene's very friendly there. Lamb is probably a little bit more upmarket. At the moment, it's in a cocktail bar just outside of Covent Garden.
Because it used to be in a bank at one point, didn't it?
Yeah, so it was at Revolutions in Leadenhall. So just
when we used to do it, it was in south of the river.
Yep.
Old theatre.
Yep.
But yeah, the fact that they get established venues means that you get that element of it. It's more consistent.
Yeah.
As soon as you get an event where the venue changes every 5 minutes because they're being kicked out, or the management don't like what's happening.
Yeah,
so we've seen that with events in the past.
Yeah, BBB's been at Nightingale since it started, so 20 odd years,
and it's been through a couple of renovations as well.
It has, yes.
Can't use the stage because we're painting it. Remember that year?
Yeah, not always for the better. They blacked out the windows one year, which wasn't great for a market, but it's probably pretty good for a nightclub.
Yeah.
Lamb has recently changed venue after nearly a decade at its last venue, so I'd say Lamb is probably a great experience, a great day out where you can go and sit with friends and have a nice meal.
Do they still have the after parties? And
Yep. So both of them have got an after party. They start about an hour or so after the market closes, so it gives you time to go out and get food and get changed in a hotel if you're staying nearby.
Yeah.
And I don't know what time they finish because it's been a long time since I stayed at one.
Yeah, as a vendor, it's that almost. I just want to go home.
Yeah,
I don't want to go and play now.
Get some food and put your feet up.
We've had in the past. We've been invited to events, and we have done events which have been play events, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can come and sell some things, and then you can play." And it's like it's really difficult to mix the two because one minute you're thinking about, okay, do you take a credit card? Yeah, I'll take a credit card. Where's the signal? That's always the classic one at an event. And then it's like, I'd love to be spent over that spanking bench or hanging off that cross, but and then someone comes up and says, I've just bought this off you. Can I just... Everybody's for a gag. It's like, I can't answer any questions. I can't say anything. Sorry. What's the weirdest request you've ever had?
Oh, weirdest request. I don't know, actually. I don't really consider any of the requests we've had weird.
Okay, what's the most extreme request you've had? Possibly one that you've had to go back and go, are you sure?
You're probably starting to get into the realms of some of the spanking equipment and some of the paddles. I say this going...
He's going to mention spikes.
I am going to mention spikes.
Spikes!
It's a really bad idea to put spikes on a paddle, knowing I've got spikes at home ready to put on a paddle this week.
We have a standing joke about spikes.
Oh, okay.
Spikes are something that crops up in a lot of conversations. We just hate spikes.
So spikes are bad. We've had people ask for all sorts on paddles where you look at it and go, that would cause some serious harm. I don't think that's wise at all. So you're looking like meat tenderizers and just going... No, I'm not sure we want to touch that, to be honest.
Yes, I mean we've had some interesting ethical issues, shall we say. We had a customer who once said that they wanted to use one of our boxes on somebody's ears in order to create, as they put it, a brainstorm. And we were like, that really, really doesn't sound safe. In fact, it sounds so unsafe. The answer is no, I'm not going to sell you that. But you won't know what I'm using it for. Well, the thing is, you've just told us what you want to use it for.
Yeah.
We're not comfortable with the idea of you using it for that. We would rather not sell it to you. Yeah, you can go and buy it off the web and we wouldn't know, but really uncomfortable with the idea of using an item in such a way that could potentially cause serious damage. In our industry, shock collars is one that crops up from time to time.
Yep.
Shock collars are a bad idea. I don't care who says, oh, it's a good idea. I've been using it on my sub for the last 25 years. You shouldn't. Bear in mind, the RSPCA in the UK are attempting to ban shock collars on the use of animals. And a shock collar that's designed for an animal is designed for an animal that has a big lump of fur and skin here to take up some of that shock. And you're then going to put it on a human being who's got really thin layers of skin around here, two massive sets of nerves around here, and you're going to give them quite strong electric shocks. And you wonder why we think that might be dangerous. So, yeah, we don't recommend shock collars. It's one of our pet hates. Yeah, you do have people out there who will take things to extremes. I've seen people saying that they're going to use barbed wire for whipping or barbed wire for tying someone up. It doesn't feel right to even have that discussion with them because it's just so unsafe. And yeah, if you're using impact instruments of any description, I know that a school ruler can cause a serious amount of pain. It's a piece of wood this long. What happens when you get a big bat of some description? And we've seen people selling thick aluminium bats.
I've seen the barbed wire baseball bats as well, people selling there. I'm just thinking,
yeah,
I'm not sure I want to sell that. Some of the toys we sell are designed to hurt, but there's two kinds of pain you want. There's like the pain you want from an impact toy, and then there's the ouch, this is really sharp and it's just cut me in a way I really didn't want to.
I think the difference is it's down to control.
Yeah.
And it's down to having a Dom who has the ability to control themselves and control the instrument. So let's face it, you've got cutting tools that you use to cut for leather, which are very capable of chopping fingers off.
Oh, yes.
But you, as an experienced artisan, know how to use those tools in the correct manner. And that's the key with impact instruments. It's the key with E-Stim. Once you know how to use things and know how to use things in the correct manner, they can go from something that's massively enjoyable. And for a lot of people, pain can be enjoyable.
Yeah.
But the difference is it's consenting and it's controlled and it's pitched at that level that, okay, it might take you to your limit, but that's your limit. And it might tickle a little bit further. But for a lot of us who have those experiences, that's what you want. But it's under control and it's with consent. It's not just oh yeah, here's a cane, bang, bang, bang. And we, unfortunately, within the industry and within the fetish environment, you do see people that think that using a cane or a paddle is literally just pick it up and hit someone with it. They have no idea where to hit or how to hit or how to use that in a central way that their subject gets that level of feeling and sensation they're after, rather than just, I've just been beaten up with a big stick of wood. it's nice to know that there are people out there who are not just making the stuff to sell. Or look, I made it, you buy it. There we are, end of story. But there's some ethics behind what are you going to use it for? How are you going to use it? Without having that element of the nanny state. Let's face it, if the nanny state was around, we'd never be making anything that hurt anyone. So, that's bad. But this comes from the 50s when we all beat the children with a cane, which never did me any harm, so I'm told.
Go for the personal aspect.
The personal aspect. So we're going to get all personal now. Now, one of the things that we pride ourselves on in E-Stim Systems is all the sales team, and in fact, a lot of the staff use our kit. So I'm going to be personal. Do you actually use any of your kit yourself?
So I hope my mum's not watching now. But
Sorry, Mum.
So yeah, over the years, obviously we've experimented with various bits and pieces that we sell, like the cuffs, collars, paddles, floggers, etc. Less so as you get older and you start having a family, it becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it's like, Mum, why's the door shut? I want it, Mum, why's the door shut? Like, shh, go away, I'll be back out in a minute. Your father's busy.
Yeah, so it kind of boils down to we wouldn't sell anything that we wouldn't use.
Yeah.
So, we will try stuff out and see what they feel like. But yeah, not as much as we used to. Is probably
Do you have any particular favourites?
For me, it's probably the cuffs. I find the cuffs really comfortable. When we're at the events, we get people to try them on, see how they feel. What we're looking for there is to make sure it's not going to cause you any pain in a way that you don't want. Obviously, you want to be restrained, you want to feel the restraint, but you don't want it to be digging in under your wrist, for example. So I think the cuffs we do are really good, really solid. Hence why we do the lifetime guarantee, because we know they're not going to break. Probably one of my favourites to make and to sell. But we also do a set of what we call restraint straps, which are basically just really long belts with holes from top to bottom. You do some really cool things with them. So like you can do like a full body wrap, so around the arms quite quickly. So anything you do with rope, essentially you could do with these restraint straps, just a little bit quicker.
Because I've never really got on with rope. I've always found it quite sort of, it's easy to mark on the skin.
Yeah.
You then end up having to unpick knots. And there's probably knots that people do that I just put a granny knot in and it's like, it doesn't tighten up.
Yeah, I just didn't have the patience.
No, and talking about belts, I remember Andy actually created a particular belt that you could use as a waist belt, but there was an extra bit in it, wasn't it?
There was.
Which allowed you to do like a figure of eight wrist restraint. Have you got one?
I've got one, yeah.
Yay!
You have to take it off though.
Oh God, he's going to take his clothes off.
Live on camera.
Live on camera.
So.
This is the ultimate in actually
so this
demonstrations.
I've had this belt for 13 years actually.
Okay.
So this belt was one that he made, which is, so the very first event I did, I took it off the shelf and put it on. And I've not took it off since. I've been through like airport security with this on and nobody's ever quizzed me about it. But works as a standard belt and then easily, if I've got this on the overhead camera, that's a good way to show. So basically what you want to do is just thread it through the two loops. Hope you can see that okay. And it goes from being a belt that you wear into a set of cuffs like that. So you've got wrist cuffs there. And obviously you can then put it around like a chair leg if you wanted to.
Okay.
Or, around the neck potentially, if that's what you're into. So yeah, that was a design he came up with and that's actually been one of our best sellers.
So someone's now going to see it and go, I'm going to copy that.
There's plenty of people that are copying it. You'll find it all over Etsy, but I think he might have been one of the first to do it. I'm not sure.
It's certainly the first time we saw it. And it was one of those things that you go to events and lots of people do paddles and cuffs and collars and things like that. And this belt was the one thing that stood out. It was different.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we always like about businesses and try and emulate, and for us it's something that we try and do, is that element of always being different. If everyone else is doing cuffs, then you need to do something. Okay, you can still do cuffs, but either do different cuffs or do something that's different. And this was something that always struck my mind because, I do own one. It's somewhere at home. I should have gone and dug it out. It was just completely different to what everyone else is doing. 20 odd years later, I still remember it. And you're still selling it.
For me, what I like about it is it's a really simple design. It's actually got two uses. So it works on your jeans, but then, when your jeans come off, you've got a set of cuffs ready to go.
and hopefully airport security won't notice.
Yeah.
Although every time I go through airport security, they're like, take your belt off, take your shoes off, take your gun. You're sort of walking and going, yeah, but what about the 3 dildos in my case? We don't care about those. Your shoes are more important. They could explode. Yeah, we've taken some interesting stuff through airport security, including these.
You do that on purpose, or?
Yeah, we did a show a few years ago, and this is before Brexit, because now if we do shows, we have to ship everything out through customs and do carnets and things. But we did a show. Actually, no, it wasn't a show. We were going to see Mr. B to do some demonstrations, and we had a flight case. Strange enough, like the flight case I'm currently sitting on, because I don't have a seat. I'm sitting on a flight case just to do this, and we had to carry a load of kit with us. And rather than put it in the hold, it was like, yeah, we'll take it through. And I had a load of these. I don't think I had the decimator, actually. I think I had something smaller. But the funniest thing, Kaz was going through as well, and she got pinged because she had M&Ms. And they were like getting the wipes out, looking at the chocolate and going, oh, this is going to go through the ion scanner. And I'm sitting there with, yeah, I've got like things that look like bullets and bombs and things like, yeah, no problem. You get that down, whatever. So yeah, we've taken a few interesting things through customs before. Because let's face it, people take our kit on holiday, play in a nice hotel room or on the beach or something, and things like this. I mean, that's great because it does allow you to sort of play even further.
Yep.
And playing it, I mean, knowing that you're walking around with a set of cuffs around your waist is like, that's quite an interesting idea. Like,
yeah, so I wore that every day to work when I worked in an office, and nobody ever asked me a question about it. Nobody even looked at it.
And I mean, these days, I think there is more. I mean, we've played in public sometimes. I remember a day we went to Pizza Hut and I had cuffs on. And these were quite, fortunately they weren't your cuffs, they were the other company. But they were quite wide leather cuffs. And I think I might have forgotten I had them on, but we went into Pizza Hut and we were having a pizza and suddenly realised that I've got these two leather cuffs on. But because they're just there, they look almost like an arm bracer.
Yeah.
So that it's that, oh, okay, yeah.
We're here now.
And yeah, we're here now, we're paying the bill, and the waitress couldn't really care less, but yeah, walked into Pizza Hut wearing two bondage cuffs and nobody noticed. This belt is always one thing that's always stood out for me from Andy and Kinky Cobbler and now yourself as Leather Delight. So hopefully we're going to see more of these ideas because it's a really good one and it works. And at the end of the day, from a playing perspective, that's what we want.
Yeah.
It's that, does it work? Does it do what it's supposed to do?
Does it do what it's supposed to do? And will it last?
And will it last? Yes. Unfortunately, there is a large amount of material out there. We see it in the E-Stim world. We see it in the adult world in general, where there's still the adult tax, where people they buy something from B&Q and suddenly the price has tripled or quadrupled. It's like you bought that piece of rubber tubing from B&Q and you're now telling me that it's bondage and therefore it's 5 times the price. Or they purchased it from my pet hate China or India or Pakistan, and it's been made by someone who probably gets paid $3 an hour. You pull it and it falls apart. I mean, for me, for restraints, for cuffs and things like that, I want to be able to pull against them. That's the whole point about being in restraints. I want to be able to pull them as much as I can. I don't want things snapping. I don't want things breaking. I want it to... It's a restraint. It's supposed to hold you, which is why I don't like things like rope, because I just end up damaging myself. It's like, I've got nerve in a hand doing this, and it's like that. So yeah, I'm really like that. So
Surprised you remembered that.
what, the belt?
Yeah.
Again, it comes back to that. It's unique.
Yeah, it was.
It's certain things you remember certain people for.
Yeah.
I
I've sold loads of these just to people I know, not even at markets.
Yeah.
Just out and about in the pub, and they've gone, oh my God, can I have one?
And it is that. It's something that's different. It stands out. And because after 20 years, I still remember it. We do genuinely have one at home.
Yeah.
Just we've got so much kit at home. I have a clue what half of it is.
Okay, so when did you and Kaz first join the scene? It's probably a good place to start.
Oh, that's a question. When did we first join the scene?
Not to date you at all.
Oh, the scene. We predate E-Stim slightly, but separately, because we effectively came together as the concept behind E-Stim was being created, which is where Kaz really is. Would E-Stim exist without Kaz? No, it wouldn't. The ideas might have cropped up because I was thinking about them. I was going to munches. I was talking to people before Kaz was around. In fact, I actually met Kaz at a munch. If Kaz hadn't been as involved at the beginning, then yeah, the company wouldn't be where we were now, because I was lucky enough to have a partner who said, let's try this, let's play with this. And we enjoyed playing with our products. That's how the first products came about. We enjoyed incorporating it into play. So we did things like the A-Box, which uses sound. That was based on playing at events with spanking and bondage where there was music playing. So you would spank or cane in time to the music. That then expanded into using headphones. So you could listen to your own music rather than having to listen to some DJ playing some weird stuff. You could listen and play to your own music. And that's where things like the A-Box came from. And then we had remote control. Again, I experienced that as her controlling it, and she experienced it as me controlling. So we were sort of experimenting before we met in our different ways. We then met at a munch. We then sort of got together, and things just progressed from there. And the nice thing about being in the industry, we certainly at the beginning, we still had the opportunity to play more publicly. The problem we had with that is you'd be playing and then someone would want to ask you a question about your products, which was like, my mindset is in this subspace, but now you want to know, can I place an order? And it's just like, I'm playing, please, let me just, and it destroyed any ability to play in a public space, like a club or fetish fair after party, that sort of thing. So we sort of moved more into the private play, which was the big change for us. Out of interest, how did Andy get into it then?
But the story I'm told is he had a friend who brought him a pair of cuffs and said, can you repair these for me? And he basically just said, no, I'll make you something better. And a couple of months later, he was at the BBB. And
I mean, that's quite a quick.
That was it, really. Just a friend saying, can you make something? And he did. And then he was like, I'll show you where to sell it. And that was that. And 20 odd years later, we're still here.
The rest is history, as they say.
Exactly, yeah.
I think we've run out of questions. I think I've run out of questions. Yeah. I didn't bring my little notepad. I managed to leave that in the car. But I think we've had some interesting conversations.
We have, yes.
And I'd like to thank you for coming on as my
Thank you for having me.
My first in-house live stream podcast guest.
First of many.
First of many. And next time I might get the cameras in the right place. We might have to do another one. But yeah, it's been great having you. Thank you for coming. And good luck on the rest of Leather Delights.
Thank you.
And I'll put some links where I can for Leather Delights. You get some free advertising. Anyway, if you like what I'm doing and trying to do here on I Make Sex Toys, or even E-Stim Systems, because that's actually the main business I do, then please consider ticking on the subscribe button, which might appear down here if I can get it to work. Or if you're listening to on the podcast, then maybe leave a review. If you don't like what I'm doing, please consider leaving a review, because then at least I know that you don't like what I'm doing and I might be able to change it. But whatever you do, please be safe and have fun. And thanks for listening. Please be safe and have fun. And thanks for watching. Bye. And that's how you do a podcast. Oh, I forgot to press record. No, I didn't. I'm joking.
Imagine.